Hello, everyone. John Doyle from OptixEQ, and I'm going to call this Longshot Thursday. Our video analysis for today is going to focus on long shots. And again, I think optics products are just great for. Hey, I love handicapping with them. They're a lot of fun. I'm biased. I'm sorry, but I just think there's a lot of different things you can do, and it's not one way to do things. But I like to use the products like Scan and Rod to kind of search and filter and try to find things that I think are a little bit out of the realm. Now, these don't always win, but they don't have to win a lot. Okay, the idea is get long shots and cover you a long time, and you don't always have to play them to win. There's other ways to play these long shots and the tries and the exactas and so forth. But I just think it's a great approach. So one of them I used was Scan. We talked about this before. You get this if you buy the plot. So everyone who buys any type of product gets it. And Scan, when you open it up, it gives you all the races. And this I'm looking at Thursday, 24th, gives you all the races that we have in Scan. And then you can filter and look at, the best plot fit one gives you the ones that we've talked about. They're green, and they have a good cute. The quadrant, the standard and surface and distance are close together. There's not a lot of horses you can't plot. So those kind of I call the best plot fits. Okay, so I'm going to clear that out. The other one is slow pace races. We got one, and those races where it's kind of an extreme, where there's just not a lot of speed in the race, and the speed rating's low. So you want to favor quadrant one horses when you look at races like this. But another one I like to use, and it's the fast pace scenario, is where the race could potentially come back and set up for a closer. And I think there's a long shot in that race, Fairgrounds, race 4 on Thursday, that could be a potential player. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up. I already kind of had it open up, so I'm just going to go to it, see what it looks like. And you can see it fits the parameters. Contention's very high, plot fit is yellow, and the speed rating is high. So when you look at if you just kind of look at the RPM, you can see a lot of the horses are are pretty much clustered in EP. So what is EP? That means they want to be close up. So you can see that I would say the balance of the run styles is more to the forward being placed versus late. So I think this is a race that can set up for a closer. And so the real closers in this race would be more the 8 and the 9 as opposed to the 6, I think. So I'm going to show you another way to take a look at this. So maybe it could be helpful in the future. So let's look at, let me just get my pen off here so I can click. If you look at the table to the right, you can see the run styles all the way to the right of the horse, right? You see EP, P, all the rest. Okay, so let's look at the number 6, Blues Mary. She's a P. So when I hover over Blues Mary, what you're going to see is, when we get over there, okay, now you're going to see a box pop up. And what that box tells us is it shows you how we kind of built the run style. It looks at the last 10 races of Blues Mary, and it says that she has won 6 races. No, I'm saying 1, but she's run 6 good races, 6 competitive races with that P run style. So she's a pure presser. And the maximum distance she's been away has been distance is 4.5. You can see that. So it's dash 82.45. What does that mean? That means at the second call, 4.5 lengths back. So she could sit a good trip here. So it just gives you a little bit more insight into the run style. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the 8 and 9. The 8 is Kick and Kiss. And she's, again, another horse that can come from behind. She's won 1 race as a P and 1 race as a C. That's what that tells me. P1, C1. Okay, that's what it. And then the other one was the 9. So it just gives you a little bit more insight into these horses. And you can see in the case of the 9, hasn't run a good race yet at this surface and distance, and that's why you see that plot like that. So for all intents and purposes, I want to kind of focus in on the 6 and 8 because the 9 really hasn't proven on this surface and distance. So again, quickly looking at the plot, going to lean off the pace. 6 and the 8 look like the horses that fit the bill. And so let's go to the grid. Okay, so let me go to the 6 first. I was on the 8. 6 is, making her second race off a layoff. She seems to run a little bit on the low end of the range, but she has run races that compete here. 82 would do well here. So she is a contender. She's 6-1 in the morning line. Nothing else exciting but a line. So maybe there is an improvement second off a layoff. Maybe she could run in that 82 range again. You know, why not? Okay, so we'll give her a shot. So we'll take a look at her and make her a contender. The A1 was a little bit more interesting to me, and I'm going to show you why. So let's look at this horse, Kicking Chris. Let's look at her recent race. She was rushed, shuffled, made a move. That was on dirt. She ran at 77. Okay, you say, well, that's kind of low, whatever. I think she's really more of a turf horse. Okay, so let's just look at her dirt races. Just dirt races. That was her best dirt race by far. Okay. If you look at her turf races, she's won 3 times on the turf. Okay, going a little bit longer, but in general, it just tells me that potentially their speed figures too look higher when you compare them to the ones that she had on dirt. So in general, what this tells me is that I think she may have some more upside on turf than dirt. And her recent form, that big 77 figure, despite some trouble in that race, and coming out of a win at Fairgrounds, I think bodes positive. She's going to get the pace set up she needs. The only, the big question mark is like she's never really done a short sprint. She sprinted on the turf, but never, well, once in her career, I guess. She's slow out of the gate in that one. Okay. But I mean, she really doesn't have a lot of experience. So it's a little bit of a stretch, but she's 20-1 in the morning line. So I think she's a viable long shot contender. And that's the long shot horse I like in race 4 at Fairgrounds. So it took a little while to get there. But like I said, I think she's in prime form based on her biggest dirt number, switching back to, I think, a surface she likes better. She's going to be a little class challenged, looks like. But I just think in a race like this where there's a lot of pace up front, she can come running late. So 6 and 8, 8's the long shot in Fairgrounds race 4. Okay, so the other race that I look at, and this came from the rod. So the rod, again, is what you get when you go and buy notes. You get a tab, a little button here that says rod. You click it, it brings up all the horses that are running that day with their last 3 run lines. It gives you their alerts. What's the alerts? We have a number of alerts. You can go to the alert dictionary and take a look at that. We have all that's documented and so forth, and it just tells you, and even if you hover over, it tells you what these alerts mean. The one that I like to look at is the green keywords. So we have filters now set up. So if you go to Optics Notes, I want a green keyword in last race. And I noticed this horse. I went through a couple of these horses. And I noticed this one, who is a big price, 12-1, Chasing Artemis. And this horse now is running at Laurel. Okay, so I'm going to go to Laurel. It's race 6. Click it. You can see this horse on standard, not such a great plot, big circle, big negative plot in standard. There's a reason for that. Horse has had some issues in a recent race. One is kickback in the last race. The other is the horse has been running against much better. Okay, so if you look at the surface distance plot, different story. This horse plots really nicely. Big square in quadrant 4, but not too far off the pace. It's a little bit up on the y-axis, so not too far out of it. So now there is a lack of speed and speed rating, but to me the pace is a little mushy anyway. And I think just from the perspective of the class drop, this horse is going to be a contender. So let me just go to class competition just to take a look. Look at the 4 has a hidden pace advantage. Look at the bars. Again, all those bars above 0 are positive. So look at this one. I mean, the only bar she doesn't have is an auction price, but it doesn't matter, right? These are all cheap horses. You take this out, she just dominates on pace, right? Because she's coming out of those races in New York. And like I said, this is a big angle for us, this kickback. So when you look at these numbers, right, don't look at that 33. First of all, it was routing, okay? Second of all, she got the kickback. If you go back to her debut, she ran a 66 at Saratoga, okay? Then she went long at Belmont. Probably not what she wants to do. They kept her long. Now they're cutting her back. I think she's getting the distance she's getting major class relief. All these horses have really pretty much lost at this level. You cannot compare Aqueduct and Belmont to Laurel. So hopefully the bettors will look at that last race, beating 39 lengths in the race before that, and say, no way. But let me tell you, that race is not as bad as it looks with the kickback. So this horse is 12-1, well worth a long shot bet. And even I tell you, even at probably half that price, this horse is a contender in my book. Okay, because just look at the speed figures. I mean, if she, as a 2-year-old, you know, like early in her 2-year-old season in the summer, she ran a 66 at Saratoga. Okay, that pretty much competes here. I mean, she just has to just run back that race, and I think it ain't going to be a problem. So number 4, chasing Artemis, is going to be our long shot at Laurel. So you got the 2 long shots on Longshot Thursday. Again, using rod and scan, just showing you how to get to these horses. Lots of different ways, lots of fun, lots of good ways to handicap. Keeps your mind going, keeps you creative, because you have to be creative in this game. And these, we give you the tools to help you stimulate your intelligence. Okay, thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. John Doyle from Optics.